Winters in Siberia can last as long as 8 months, and thermometers often drop to minus 40 degrees Celsius, which determines the rhythm of life for local communities. Spring arrives suddenly, and in May, the snow can melt within a few days, turning roads into sticky mud and paralyzing basic communication between settlements. Summer is often short and abrupt, with temperatures jumping to plus 30 degrees, and residents use that time for field work and for repairing houses and equipment. Soil in many areas is permafrost, so cultivation is limited, and farmers are forced to choose varieties resistant to frost and to short growing seasons. In remote villages, roads disappear under snow in winter, thaw into ruts in summer, and access is sometimes possible only by helicopter or specialized transport in emergency conditions. Residents occupy wooden houses often without adequate insulation, so the skill of collecting fuel and conserving it becomes a matter of life and death for families. In winter, stoves burn around the clock because without a constant fire, a house loses heat after a few hours and endangers the health of inhabitants, especially children and the elderly. Water in many places comes from wells or an ice hole in the river, which requires daily effort, storage skills, and caution when collecting supplies. Outdoor toilets, that is, wooden privies, remain the standard in some places, which affects hygiene conditions and comfort during severe frosts. Electricity is often unstable, and winter outages can be deadly, which is why generators and stocks of fuel and candles are a basic part of household preparations. The dietary staples are potatoes, cabbage, and carrots. Vegetables easy to store in cellars that provide calories and vitamins in the hardest months. Each household raises pigs, chickens, and cows because without their own animals, there is no milk, eggs, and meat necessary to survive long frosts. Grains are seldom cultivated in large quantities, so bread is sometimes baked at home, and the baking process takes on the dimension of a practical ritual and security measure. Hunting for game, moose, hares, and ducks, is not only part of tradition but a crucial dietary supplement when store-bought meat is expensive and hard to obtain. Fishing is a necessity rather than a pastime, because fish from rivers and lakes significantly supplement winter stocks of fat and protein for many families. In summer, people pick berries, mushrooms, and herbs, which are then dried and canned in cellars, creating stores of flavors and vitamins for the long, cold seasons. Homemade alcohol, called moonshine or samagon, is common because its production is sometimes easier than accessing certain medicines and can also be a source of income. Trade is limited to small shops with basic goods and high prices because transport is costly and deliveries are rare and irregular. Many transactions take the form of barter, eggs for bread or fish for flour, which in practice facilitates survival when cash availability is limited. Numerous families achieve near self-sufficiency by producing most food in their own gardens and pens, which reduces dependence on markets and keeps local communities alive. The main income sources are forestry work and small-scale farming, and seasonal employment sets the rhythm and condition of household budgets for the entire year. Women often earn extra income by selling milk, eggs, and vegetables at local markets, which gives households a chance to survive periods of scarcity and cash shortages. In some regions, jobs in mining or energy companies appear, but these positions rarely concern local households and are often short-term or risky. Many residents live practically on pensions and benefits that barely cover fuel, medicines, and basic goods, so savings are rare and budgets are fragile. Wages in small villages often hover around amounts comparable to low pensions, forcing families to plan expenditures sharply. The absence of banks and ATMs means money often arrives by post, and access to cash is difficult and uncertain for many days or weeks. Some people sustain themselves by producing moonshine and selling it secretly, which can be the only additional source of income in isolated places. Poverty forces frugal management and wearing clothes for many years, which increases health risks under extreme weather conditions. The nearest hospital can be 100 to 200 kilometers away, and the route often leads through fields and forests, which dramatically limits access to emergency help. In many villages, the lack of a school forces children to walk several kilometers on foot, sometimes in severe frost, to obtain basic education and development opportunities. Public transport practically does not exist, and winter connections are carried out by sleighs, snowmobiles, or trucks prepared for extreme conditions. The internet is rare and mobile telephony works mainly in larger villages, which limits access to information, remote education, and the online job market. In many homes, there is no running water or sewerage, so daily hygiene rituals rely on collecting and heating water supplies for whole days. Funerals and weddings engage the whole village and become rare moments of community when people share duties and meager resources. Siberian residents develop extraordinary resilience and practical wisdom because survival requires toughness of spirit, physical fitness, and adaptability in the face of constant challenges. A do-it-yourself attitude predominates because formal state support is often distant or insufficient, so self-reliance is both a virtue and a necessity. Alcoholism remains a serious social and health problem because homemade moonshine often accompanies rituals and gatherings while at the same time ruining families and weakening communities. Women take on the burden of caring for the household and family when men leave for work or die in risky occupations, which increases their responsibility and effort. Many people say that life in Siberia is a constant struggle against nature, poverty, and loneliness, yet there is also pride in being able to survive where others could not. In Karelia, there are villages where electricity appears for only a few hours a day, and residents plan life around those short periods of power. In many regions, the fuel is wood because gas pipelines go to export, and local communities pay the price for lack of access to easy heating. In the Trans-Baikal region, people dig through dumps looking for food and clothes, which has become a brutal survival strategy for the weakest families,